Next, we're going to move to the vendor list and set up 2 vendors. Again, I know this is information that you see all the time, but today I really want you to focus on the fields available. Sometimes when we are so used to filling in data in QuickBooks, we don't pay attention to what it actually means. Okay, so we're going to go to Vendor Center and create a new vendor. And the vendor name is going to be Intuit, again, the only required field. Address information, so the company name is going to be Intuit Inc. And we're going to say Joe Smith, should be Brad, right? And say sales. Brad is in sales, though, right? 111. Okay, and Joe at test.com, 222. And 2 at test.com. Mobile phone number, the website, all right, fax number, and other. Okay, again, notice that it does fill in some information down in the address field here, but we want to go ahead and change that. So we're going to leave it as Intuit 123 Austin Street, Houston, Texas, 12345. Okay, and I'm going to take the ink out for now. Okay, and I'm just going to copy it across to the Ship To address here. Not make any changes there. Now the payment setting tab, I'm going to go ahead and put in an account number, 123 ABC. Credit limit of 5,000. Net terms, net 15. Billing rate level, again, this is one we don't have anything set up in here yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and say bill rate. All right, and make it a fixed hourly rate of $200 an hour. Okay, and print on check, we're going to change it to say Intuit Inc. period. Okay, tax settings, so we're going to put in a vendor tax ID and make it eligible for 1099. Okay, account settings, we're going to go ahead and stick some random things in here, advertising, continuing education, and bank service charges. And then additional information, we want to go ahead and choose a vendor type of consultant and put in the special field special. Okay. All right, so I set up one vendor. Let me go ahead and set up an additional vendor. And I'm not going to fill in any of the fields, just call it ABC Co. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the fields available when we enter a bill, because when we're entering in these open balances again. So let me go ahead and expand this. All right, so I'll leave it for ABC Company. I'm going to put in the date as 8/31/16. The reference number 123456. The amount due is $500. Okay, the bill due I'm just going to leave alone and let the terms dictate that. Now notice the discount date is available there, but it's not a field I can edit, so it's not a field that we can import into. It's based on the terms. So you want to make sure that you reviewed the terms list and that the terms list is set up appropriately for the terms that you use. Okay. And sometimes when we import terms in, we can import them, we can set it up, add it as new, and just put net 18 as an example, but we don't have to change any of the dates down here. So you want to make sure to look at them and make sure that they're set up appropriately. All right, class, we're going to go ahead and use class. Memo, so bill header memo. Again, just understanding there's a memo at the header and there's a memo at the line level. You do want to make sure that the bill receive button is checked, right? Because we're importing summary bills on this webinar. We're not dealing with item receipts at all. So then we come down here, we're going to actually import to the items tab so we can use that open item that we used before, or we created before. Leave the description, quantity of 1, cost of 500. Notice that this creates a pop-up, all right? Anytime that you're entering data in QuickBooks, you want to be aware of these pop-ups. So we want to, first of all, say never update the cost for this item so that this pop-up doesn't happen again. But then also it's a good idea to go in, because that's a preference, right? So going into our edit and preferences, down to our items and inventory, and then the automatic custom price and say never update the cost, right? So again, we just don't get those pop-ups. Pop-ups are potentials to stop our importing. So you always have to remember. Okay, so yes. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and turn off that beep so we don't hear that anymore. General. Okay, so vendors, enter bills. Let's go back in there, take a look at our bills. So we have $500 here. We're going to go ahead and put the customer as Fourlane, right? So you can't import it as a customer. We'll leave that box checked off as billable, so you can import that in there as well. And then we leave the class. Again, this is importing open balances, so the billable box really shouldn't matter. You really shouldn't have to leave it checked or unchecked because we're not assigning any cost to the customer right now because it's just an open balance, right? And especially because it's hitting a balance sheet account, it really isn't going to tie it to the customer really. But again, I wanted to make sure that you know that these fields are there and available.